anybody to be ready to kill me or anything. Welcome to the last block. It is block number 12, and after last week I just had to make it so much easier, but something that would be appetizing for our quilt. A little different, but still something that's going to beautify it even more. So I hope that I'm forgiven for last week. I do want to show you if you haven't tuned into Facebook, where I took and put a revision of doing the triangle. Thanks to Laura for bringing it to my attention, that yeah, it makes much more sense to be able to make it as a square and then add the two triangles. Duh. So I just want to show you real quick here. Say this was our, are you able to see this? This here is the triangle that we had made up, and we had the three attaching triangles. So the best thing to do is to take instead of doing this over this way and then this over this way, take and build your block first. So we're going to take the single piece that's out by itself and bring it directly on top, right sides together, okay? And then you'll take and you'll do your stitch, open that up, and you're going to have a square again, okay? So then you're going to line this back up and take it over. You're going to do your one side, center that up, stitch that out, down the one side, open it up, and then be able to put this one on to stitch that one out, and go ahead and open that up. And then you should have, it's kind of like maybe a flying nun with a beard. How's that? So this would be what your block, or I should say your piece, would look like when it is completed. Okay, so if you haven't done last week's block yet, and you've kind of seen what everybody's been saying about it, make sure when you get to all of those little triangle parts that you do this method. Alright, so make sure to make it as a block first, a square. Go ahead and make it as a square, and then add your two side triangles, one at a time, and make sure that you are opening or pressing it over, however you're doing it, before you add the next one. Now, on to this week's. We are calling this one the Turn and Churn. But what we need for this week is our, how we've been doing it, alphabetizing our pieces. So our first piece will be our block A, which is cutting one that is 4 1/2, and you want one color. So if you look over here at my completed piece, all right, you see that the next one is going to be the same color as block A, because that's going to be my triangles that put all of this together to make your churn. And so this is our block, or I should say our piece B, and you want to cut 2 4 7/8, the same color as your block A, and then you're going to cut those at a diagonal, okay? And then we come over here to piece C. You're going to cut 2 at 4 7/8 inch again, and that's going to be one color, and that's what we have. That's going to be kind of your outside piece for all of this, okay? So that's one color. Again, that's 2 at 4 7/8 inch, and you're cutting that at a diagonal. We get over here to piece D, we need to cut 8 2 7/8 inch blocks, and that's going to be the same color as our block C, because that's what's going to encase our other center blocks here. And you will also cut these at a diagonal. And we get over to piece E, and here you're going to cut 8 at 1 7/8 inch. One color, all right? You want it to be totally different from these other two colors that you've chosen. And then we come over to F, which is also, you're cutting 8 at 1 7/8 inch, and that is a whole nother color, okay? So if you look at my piece here, which, oh, I got one that fell on the floor, and you want to, when you lay everything out, these pieces here, your colored triangle, need to be touching the center block, and they should be the same color. So they are all focusing inward, okay? Your points are to your points. And with these other smaller blocks, you want it to be where you have the same block that's making a straight line. So you see how I have my floral piece and I have my two yellows on the side. So I have a floral piece that's straight up and down, and then you come down here and that follows. So it's straight up and down, okay? Same way going across, my floral is now going the opposite direction, that is horizontally going straight across, all right? So when you get ready to piece these together, which I've already kind of went through and did, this is repetition of what we've been doing, so this should be simple enough. I mean, most of you probably already have it finished, and you just want to hear me talk. I don't know. But what you want to do is do your bigger blocks first, okay? So you're going to go ahead and you're going to take your piece that's closest to your right hand in that far right hand corner and flip it on top of your other piece, and you're going to take it over and you're going to stitch it that 1/4 inch. Now this is a perfect project to be able to do your chain stitch. So you could just go ahead and pick all of these up and take them over, and just one right after another, and go ahead and stitch all of those together. And when you come back, again, like I've been saying, I'm trying to drill this in everybody's head, that you want to make sure that these blocks go right back down where they came off of. That way you can make sure that when you're flipping them, they're going the proper direction, because this will also be one that is easy to get kind of messed up, and you don't want your blocks going to the outside. Maybe you do, I don't know, it is your block, you can do what you want with it. But to be able to keep this, the turn and churn, you want to make sure that you have them laid out just like this, where your colored part is facing your square, okay? Now, when you do take these over and sew all of the bigger pieces, you will have your dog ears. And if you are not liking the dog ears, all you need to do is just take it over and just go ahead and trim those off, okay? I know there's some of you that just get all riled up when you see those dog ears. You just can't stand it. So we don't want any of that. And just go ahead, you place it right back down, okay? I have all of my pieces already stitched out. So now we're going to move over to the smaller blocks. And on these, this is another one, you could take it on over and do the chain stitch. Each one is going to have one of each piece. So I have a floral and I have yellow. Those are my basic colors in this block. So I'm just going to make sure that my right sides are together, and I'm going to go ahead and give myself a 1/4 inch stitch, and then arrange them when I get them all finished. So you can go ahead and take all of your little blocks over and stitch the two pieces together. And when you finish that, bring them back over and line them up. So here I have just the two that I already had stitched up. So you want to make sure that you're laying them down and laying them in opposite directions, okay? So, and also making sure that you have these going one direction and these going the opposite direction. So it's kind of like a cross when you get it all put back together. And then when you get it all laid back out, go ahead and take and put that right on top of the other one. Make sure that you pin your seam so that you get that perfect point, okay? Make sure that it's going right in, seam, in the seam and out the seam. And then go ahead and stitch that together. And let's go ahead and get all of those together, and then we'll come back to be able to put our other pieces together. All right, so we have all of our 4 blocks put together. Now I'm going to go ahead, I went ahead and put my triangle pieces on these 3, but let's go ahead, just in case you're if you're still kind of new or you're just now jumping in and you haven't done that before, let me go ahead and show you how to go ahead and proceed with this. So I have my 4 pieces all together, and I'm going to take the one that's closest to me, my triangle piece, and I'm going to lay it right on top, right sides together. But now what I want to do to make sure that these are even is I want to take the point of my triangle and match it right up. You see that okay? Match that with the seam of the piece here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch down the long side. And then I'm going to bring that back over. And I'm going to flip the one that's right across from it. And we're going to flip that right on top and do the exact same thing. We want to line that up with the point to the seam, okay? So then we'll go ahead and stitch those together, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to press those, whether it's press them completely open like I do. I press mine open, or if you're pressing to the right side, the left side, the light side, the dark side, whatever you press to. And then after you have those pressed, then you can come over and then you can do the exact same thing to the other 2 remaining pieces, so that you're, look, it looks like a gift. I want to open my gift. So go ahead and do that to the 4 remaining squares that we have, and get your triangles put on each one of those, and then we'll work on getting the completion of the block. All right, we have all of our blocks are all put together. Now they're ready to really go together. And the same format that we always use, the first thing, we just want to double check and make sure that our color pieces are the same as our center and that they are touching, okay? So we've got our churn, and then we have our smaller squares, and that we have, these are, let's see, what is that, vertical, that they are vertically lined up, and then across horizontally they are lined up. So we don't want one to go like this and then, you know, you've got one that's kind of off. So you want to make sure before you go flipping all of your pieces to start stitching them together that these are all lined up the way that you want them. And then we're going to take, just like we do on every single block, when we go to start to build, we take the one that's closest to us, our right hand, flip that right on top of our center piece. And if you'd like, you can pin it. By this time, you might be a pro at it, and you just go to the machine and just start stitching. And you'll go ahead and stitch along the side. You're going to line it up, stitch along the side, bring it back over, lay your other piece right on top, stitch it, make sure that you're pressing also. And when we get that all finished, we'll have 1, 2, 3 rows. I've already got this one together. And then we're going to take, line up, make sure that you have your seams, that you are matching those up so you get your perfect point, and go ahead and put your pieces together. So you're going to have, the one's going to flip to the center, and then that'll open up, and then you'll take your last one, right sides together to the center, and stitch that one and press as well. So let's do that and see what we get. Ta-da! And here we have a turn and churn. A turn. Guess we can just keep churning. See there? But we will put it up on display with our quilt blocks that I have behind me. I do want to go ahead and go over some of the things that we're going to need to do then for next week, which is putting everything together. And we will have a video that is after this. I didn't want to make it all real long, and if somebody needed to check back at something, then you would be able to go into that video separate from this video, and instead of going all the way to the end of this if you've already done the block. So what I have done, which I'm really happy, I spent probably an hour auditioning all of my different blocks in different areas to see what I wanted where, and what we need to make sure that we do from this point on. Let me step over here, and I've got my little notes here, and we need to make sure that we are cutting out all of our border triangle pieces, okay? So I have here that you're going to need for the large outer triangles. We need 10 pieces, but you're going to cut 4, okay? 4 squares that are 18¼ by 18¼ When you do that, you're going to cut diagonally one direction and diagonally the other direction to give you the 4 pieces that you're going to need. Now you will have 3 of those left over. So if you wanted to, you could do 3 blocks and then just go ahead and lay that piece on top of your fabric to be able to cut a separate one to give you that odd number that you need, because you only need 1. So you do need 10 of these pieces. I am missing somewhere in all of my scraps and stuff. I do have them cut, but I've got to find my 2 bottom pieces down here. But you do need 10 of those. And then up in each corner, you are going to need your small corner triangles. Whoa, that's a mouthful. And you're only going to cut 2 of those, and they are going to be 9 3/8 inch. And then you're going to just cut that in a diagonal. If you do have fabrics that are just a one-way fabric, you're going to want to try to make sure that you are lining that up so that you get it to where your pieces are going to be straight up and down. You don't want them, you know, kind of going all wonky on you. And so the next thing, after you have all of those pieces, you want to go through and you want to measure each one of your blocks. That is why we have not gone through to try to size up, fix any of our blocks. They will finish at 12 inches. So we do need to make sure that all of our blocks are measured. And I don't know, can you see here? I have gone through and I put like a little label on each one of my blocks with the size, and that way I can just pull it and know exactly what I need to size mine up to, which I'm going to show you a little trick on how to be able to make that work. Also, if you look over here, you see that I have already put my display piece as to what I want for my inner border and my outer border. Yellow has not been my favorite in this piece, and my intention from the very beginning was I was going to go with my floral for my outer border, and on my inner border I was planning on using my teal color, but when I auditioned the pieces after I had all of my blocks where I wanted them, it was not, it's lost, like you couldn't even really see, and the red was overwhelming and the green was just too, I don't know, it just wasn't jiving. And when I put the yellow up there, I was like, oh my goodness, that's it. So I am going to use yellow as my inner border, which I had no inclination to do that in the very beginning at all. But I really am happy with it. I really like the way that it has turned out. And I will tell you, if you have any blocks, like I do have one block, this block here, so it was 12 by 11 7/8. So I'm going to be a little short there, but I'm just going to watch when I go to do my stitching of everything together with this particular block. I'm only going to go into like an 1/8 instead of a 1/4 to be able to piece that all together, and fingers crossed, hope and pray that it works. If you have anything that is under that, you're gonna, I hate to say it, but you're probably going to want to redo the block to make sure that you have at least 12 inch. And you know, I mean, I could certainly go ahead and redo the block if that's what I want to do, but I really kind of don't want to do that, so I'm just going to make it work. And so next week we will be discussing putting everything together and working on our border, our outer border and our inner border, and then being able to put our batting on the back, and actually doing a little bit of quilting, if you will. I will tell you that we're not going to get, there's a lot of detail with all of these, and since again we're talking that we're acting like we're all brand new beginners here. So it will be a stitch in the ditch is what I'm going to recommend that you do with the blocks. And when you get to your center blocks, we're just going to kind of put like a cross through it, just to be able to hold those pieces in there together. And it's totally up to you if you want to go gung-ho and you are a seasoned quilter and you're like, no, I'm not doing no stitch in the ditch. You do whatever you want to do. It's your block, it's your quilt. For the beginners though, I'm wanting to show them the art and the skill of the easiest way to be able to do quilting for yourself and being able to do the stitch in the ditch with all of these more complicated pieces. And so let me go ahead and let you know also, where did I put it? Oh, let me go ahead and give you the measurements that if you want to go ahead and start for the outer border and the inner border. This will be in the next video as well, but I'm going to go ahead and give this to you real quick. The overall size of the quilt is going to be the 65 by 82, okay? And this will need like a twin size batting, which we did just get a shipment of that in if anyone is interested, and you would get your 20% discount on that. And on the inner horizontal, let me go ahead. The inner horizontal border, okay, which is going to go along the bottom and the top, and that you're going to need two pieces that are 2.5 inches by 55.5 inches. Now, if you are wanting to go ahead and do some piecing and being able to put a couple of pieces together to make that work, you're more than welcome to do that. Or if you're actually wanting to just do it as one big strip, that's going to be a whole lot of fabric. You're going to have a whole lot left over, but you can certainly do that as well. And then the inner vertical border, and you're going to need, that's the one that's on the outer edges, the lengthwise. You're going to want those to be 2.5 by 68.5 inches, okay? And then when we get to the outer border, which mine is going to be all of the floral, the same that I had for my blue blocks here. And the outer vertical, so that's my up and down on both sides. And that is going to be, let me just kind of move these around here so you kind of see all of that. The outer vertical border, I need two of those, and the size is 5.5 inches by 72.5 inches. Okay, so those are going to be pretty long. Again, you can piece them if you want to do that, or if you want one big long piece, that's going to be one, that's going to be a lot of yardage for just having, what would that be, 10, 11 inches out of that, but hey, you do what you want to do. And then here we have the outer horizontal border, and that one is two pieces going along the bottom and the top, and that is 5.5 inches by 65.5 inches. And again, that is going to be my yellow that I'm using in my quilt. And then binding, you are going to need enough that's 2.25 inch strips, and you need enough that's going to get you about 204 inches in length. That, of course, you're probably definitely going to be piecing that together. But you will want it to be at least 204 inches in length. All right, so I hope everybody has your pencil paper. You've got that. If you don't, fear not, because it will be in the next video that we're going to do right after this one. And that way you can just kind of refer to that one instead of going all the way to the end of this one. And so real quick, I also wanted to let you know this right here, these are all of the names for all of the people that have done the quilts, all the blocks for the past 12 weeks. Yay, that's a whole bunch. And we're going to do something very special for everybody whose name is in here. We're going to have a special drawing next week. No, yeah, we'll draw for next week. But the next week we'll also draw for number 12, the winner of number 12, which is what we have in this basket right here. I think we kind of lost a few people this past week because I guess of complications, I don't know. I hope that, if anyone has any questions, I did these to be able to get you ready for all of the small pieces and all the many pieces that will be in Sampler 2. And if you are doing Sampler 2 with us, and you will want to go ahead and start getting your fabrics ready, get them starched. We also just received in, but they are going very quickly, the books for that session. It is not a requirement because I will be doing the exact same thing that I have been doing. It will be listed in on Facebook and listed in our newsletter on Mondays. The measurements, the cutting measurements that you need for each week, just like we've been doing with this. And then I will walk you through each block. And hey, I look at it this way, you guys have, when I go through and I'm making all the mistakes and relaying how to do these things for you, so you don't have to go through all the mistakes that I had to go through to be able to get to these blocks. But just everybody get ready, because if you're wanting the book, if you're wanting the 18.5 by 18.5 ruler, I can tell you we just got a big shipment of those in, and I have one left right now. I have to place another order. So if you are wanting that for sure, please let me know. And that is until the end of, the 31st. August 30th or 31st, whichever, that you will be able to still get a discount on the ruler. After that, there will be no discount on the rulers. So get your ruler now. So let's go ahead, and Mr. Tim is going to draw this week's winner, which this week we have Gizmo here, who is showing off. My favorite is Crunch Bars. Love the Crunch Bars. I will tell you that this was pretty full, and throughout the day I just kind of made them disappear. I know, it's all going to my hips too, and it's showing. All right, let's go here, Tim. Swish them around there and draw a good one. Let's see, drum roll. And Tracy Kroger. And Tracy is one who has been faithfully making 2. You have seen her her Christmas block, and her other block is just all kinds of cute little cutesy print. But Tracy is the one that is doing the Christmas block as well, that everybody ooh and ahs over. It's going to be beautiful. I can't wait to see that one. So Tracy, yay! Look at you! So come on in. You get a free yard of fabric, and you get the Crunch Bars. Share them if you want, but if it was me, I wouldn't. So until next week, when we get to put all this together, woo, it's been so fun and so exciting. And boy, get ready for the big challenge of the Sampler 2 when we get through with this. So until next week, guys, if you have any problems, any questions, make sure to contact me so I can help you through it, okay? We'll see you then. Bye-bye.